Bienvenue, hello and welcome. I have the video for this week, and this week we are having a look at a très short little book. It is only about 70 pages. It is not actually a novel, but it is a good way to start with this writer. We have a novel, very small novel that I would like to do, but I want to do this one first, which is Down Below by Leonora Carrington. So, before we start, remember, if you wish to support us, there is our shop where we have books and writing services. And there is also a Redbubble shop where we have lots of designs, over 100 designs. Both of those are places that you can go to support this channel. Because we do not do Patreon or advertising. We just have our shop fronts. The other ways that you can support us, which we like very très much, is if you like, if you subscribe, if you share the videos, make a comment. All these things are very welcome. We love seeing people in our comments. I apologize, it is très short today. Oh, so cold. And this dress, not a warm dress. So anyway, that is how you support us. So, this book is Down Below by Leonora Carrington. Now, I would totally forgive you if you have no idea who Leonora Carrington is, because I did not know who Leonora Carrington was until I started looking randomly through books. This is some ways that I sometimes get books. Is one book leads to another. You get a suggestion. You go, oh, that looks interesting, and so you read that. So I found Leonora Carrington that way. She is not somebody who turned up in my reading of other writers of the period, because she is not primarily a writer, she is a surrealist painter. So this is the writing of Leonora Carrington, who was a surrealist painter. She was the daughter of rich Northern English industrialists. They had her family owned a chemical company. Her family had pushed her into the proper rollover upper middle class, wannabe upper class lady with debutante balls and go and visit the local gentry, that sort of thing. Typical 1%ers. But Leonora Carrington was not interested in this life. She took the opportunity as early as possible, at 19, to run away to France. France. She ran away to France in the 1930s after having reluctantly agreed to a debutante ball, and she fell in with the surrealist. In particular, she became the lover muse of Max Ernst. And she and Max lived together in the south of France until 1939, when Max Ernst was arrested first by the French government as a German in France, as Germany has gone to war with France. So he was arrested first time and imprisoned, but was released by the French government on the pressure from influential people within the surrealist circle and others that he knew. But once Germany invaded France, Max Ernst was arrested again, and this and sent to a concentration camp. This was not an arrest that Leonora's and the pressure of their friends could release him from. Alone in the south of France, Leonora suffers a severe nervous psychotic breakdown. She is alone in a foreign country. She also is a citizen of a country that is at war with Germany. This is not good for her, and she is losing her grip on reality. Her first symptoms of this loss of her breakdown is an uncontrollable vomiting. In the south of France, seeing that Leonora is becoming incapable of being able to live by herself or to be safe in the south of France, her friends take her across the border into Spain. Spain being neutral at this time throughout the war, may her break with reality, her descent into a psychotic state, only progresses further in Spain, where she is finally where her friends can no longer help her. She is far too out of touch with reality. She is convinced that she can broker peace in Europe, and has a great vision of esoteric knowledge that the world needs, that will bring harmony to the world. But she is. We do not see any of this from the outside. This is a story that she related in 1943. And actually she related it twice. She wrote it out in 1943, and then she verbally tells the story. So the timeline in this is not, at the top of the chapters, is not the timeline of her breakdown, but the timeline of the tellings of the story. The telling of the story took several days. This particular copy is the printed copy is actually a combination of both of these tellings that Leonora Carrington herself oversaw the compilation of in the 1980s. So this is her final account of her descent into madness. So this break with reality makes Leonora incredibly vulnerable. She is suspicious and afraid of everybody. She is not seeing the world as it is. She is seeing what her madness is telling her. There are the representatives of her father's company attempt to manage this situation. But she does find herself institutionalized in a mental hospital run by Dr. Morels. In this institution, she is horribly neglected. She describes being strapped to a bed for several days, being fed poorly, and lying in her own face. She is also given injections to provoke epileptic seizures, to invoke epileptic seizures, which are terrifying for her. She is also given other medication that causes her great difficulty in walking, as a way of creating constraint. So this is a truly terrifying place. she is very, in this part of the story, we see a great deal of how deeply she is in her psychotic state and the ways that she is seeing the world. But finally, her family send her nanny to try and help get her out of this hospital. And eventually she is able to escape. She is able to, a friend of hers does manage to visit someone whom she knows and who basically tells her, you need to come back. You need to come back to yourself. You cannot stay in this a fantastical state. So she make great effort to return to the real world as much as there is a degree of comfort in the madness. It is also leaving her incredibly vulnerable to things that are not in her best interest, and that even in madness she is understand. These things are not things that I want. Things are happening to me that I do not want. She is finally able to, her family arrange for her to go to South Africa. So their idea is that she should go to South Africa rather than remain in Spain because of the war, because of the uncertain nature of Europe. There is also, you get a sense that South Africa is the end of the world, and this is a way of hiding away a embarrassing family member. Leonora, by this point, is lucid and able to understand what is happening in the world around her, and she runs away. She manages to run away. She has a friend who is a Mexican photographer who is she knows who is also an associate of Picasso, and she knows that he is connected to the embassy, the Mexican embassy in Portugal. Leonora escaped to the Mexican embassy in Portugal, where she waits for her friend and they allow her to stay. She is in an embassy. She is safe. Her friend does arrive within a few days, and he marry her so that they can leave. Also at this point, Peggy Guggenheim is also working to get Max Ernst out of the concentration camp. She does offer them passage to America, they decline and make their own way to Mexico, which has offered political prisoners or political refugees of the Nazis asylum and citizenship. By going to Mexico, she takes advantage of this and becomes a Mexican citizen, and that it is in Mexico City where she lives the rest of her life. So this is a really fantastically interesting story. It is a true story. One of the things, thinking about this, there are a lot of stories of madness, some of which are entirely fictional, like One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, and then there are the more memoir style of writing, like Sylvia Plath's The Bell Jar. I think that this is, although not a a wonderful work in terms of the literary quality of it. It is a spoken narrative. It is, and now that is not to denigrate this. Leonora Carrington is an incredibly articulate and astonishingly dispassionate narrator of her experiences. So it is not that this is a difficult piece to read. It is actually not a difficult piece to read from the writing perspective, from the oh my goodness, these things happening to her. That is somewhat it makes it a difficult read. So, but unlike someone like Plath and some other writing about madness, about mental illness, Leonora Carrington does not romanticize her experience. You would not read down below and think, oh yes, what I need to do to connect to my creative self is go mad. No, you are definitely not going to think this, which is particularly interesting because Leonora Carrington was a surrealist, and the surrealists did have a certain belief of the inherent truth in what mad, psychotic people saying. But what this narrative show is, although Leonora's fantastical imagery is based in the esoteric, it is clearly drawn from things that were interesting to her in her life before this break. So there is a great deal of esoteric quality to it, which no doubt is coming via her previous life. This is the story of, this is the experience of an incredibly sensitive person in an incredibly stressful situation, who, in order to deal with that situation, has absented herself from seeing a rational view of the world that is overwhelming. She has retreated into a state of not seeing. And it is not a case of accessing great creative knowledge. It is more a case of becoming incredibly vulnerable. She does not make madness look attractive. Madness for her, and in this account, is a thing that leaves you vulnerable to the whims of others. Leonora is assaulted medically and otherwise multiple times. The injection of drugs to provoke seizures is not a medical. It is the nature of mental health care in mid-20th century. Not good. It looked more like assault. It looked like medical assault. The strapping to the bed in one's own filth is an assault. So she is very vulnerable. She is left in a very frightening situation, not a situation that one would willingly stay in. This is. She is also at the mercy of strangers and medical professionals. She also finds herself at the mercy of her family. Now, she had run away and become a surrealist in France. This was not what her family wanted. Her family do not want her rotting away in a poor medical facility in Spain. The madness puts her under their power yet again. Madness is not this liberating force as the surrealists had imagined for her, madness is this extraordinary vulnerability. She is taken off the street. Why? Because for her own safety, she is forcibly taken to places, forcibly made to do things, forcibly made to eat what she does not want to eat. All of these things. And then her family are able to use this to their advantage to take their wayward daughter and attempt to forcibly translocate her to South Africa. So she loses agency. Madness is a way for not only bad actors, but even well-meaning people, but who have a different agenda to oneself, to impose their will on the individual. So this, she really shatters any illusion that madness is creative, madness is freeing. Madness is for her far more shackling than any facing of reality that she is avoiding. So it is very interesting in that her difficulty in finding people who are genuine allies, who are willing to admit that you are lucid and able to make this decision. That is what she is facing at the end of the narrative. Is people are once she had gone mad, then convincing people that no, I am capable of making my own choices. I can have my agency back. Restoring agency is incredibly difficult for her, even though the people who are taking her agency are doing so for best motives. She could see herself becoming a different kind of prisoner, an isolated, alone prisoner of her family's best motives, which is why she ran away from them. So it is very interesting to look at this book, and especially I think the breaking of those fantasies about and lies about romanticized mental illness is, I think, probably one of the most valuable aspects of this, especially as a woman at this time. Having that agency is incredibly. It was an incredibly delicate thing for her to maintain at the best of times, while losing her reason. It is impossible for her to maintain this. And I think that is very much highlighted. That is what I took out of it, is the incredible vulnerability of the loss of reason. Not this great creative freedom, but potentially the loss of all freedom for all time. So that is down below. There is another Leonora Carrington that we will look at in time. That is the hearing trumpet. So we will have a look at that sometime else. Mais until we see each other again and I have a new book for you, au revoir. If you would like to support this channel, come across to the Black Cockie Press website, www.blackcockiepress.com.au, where you will find books and other writing services to help with your writing.